What's up, guys? Welcome to Powerline Podcast. My name is Ryan Lucas. All right, before we dive into the episode, I need to ask a favor from you guys. It's been brought to my attention that in the last 60 days, 66% of you out there are not subscribed to the show on YouTube. If you guys could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me build this show and, draw the attention that I need from the people I need to draw attention from to help grow this thing and push it forward. If I could ask that favor from you, if you could do that for me. And then if you are listening from any just audio platform like Spotify, Apple, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well and leave a review if you could. It helps so much if you could do that. Thank you. Let's dive right in this episode of Powerline Podcast. Perez. This is long overdue, so I've actually been really excited about this conversation, and thanks for coming. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
Should be a lot of fun.
Heck yeah.
Like I said, hopefully someone's got lots of fingers on the censorship button.
There's been a few. Everyone gets in here and they're like, they get halfway through the interview and they're like, can I curse? I'm like, you do whatever you want. I don't know. Like, you're gonna roll it out. Let's go. Dex is on the button. So
if you've been around me more than a couple minutes, you know curse words are going to fly.
I love it. Like, I think it's just part of, I don't know. I used to get flack from my mother and father. My mom said she was going to stop listening to the episodes if I kept on going with it. And then every so often I get a call from my old man like, hey, Ryan, we were trying to listen to the podcast when we were driving and, maybe you should tone down the cursing a little bit, just saying. I'm like, yeah, okay. But it's also kind of part of the trade. So
it is. I remember a couple of years ago, someone said to me, have you ever considered being a politician? I was like, as long as you're willing to have someone stand up there and go, fuck you, you motherfucking liar, you're a bag of shit, and you're fucking stealing, and they're all like, I'm like, that's wwhy I could never be a politician, because that's pretty much how every debate would go.
Yeah. I think you're too witty for being a politician. Like, you get up there. I'd love to see you in a debate because like I think you'd crush. No, really. Like you're just going to outwit all of them, I think.
I don't know. I think if you're just going to stand up there and lie and anyone's wanted telling the truth or calling you out on it.
Yeah. And
you've seen it where they're just like, wait, he caught me in a lie.
Cut to commercial.
Quick.
Cut to a pharma commercial.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you making the time for this. Thanks for being here.
For
all
sure.
That good stuff. What's your mission right now? What are you up to?
Well, I'm wondering because we've got the
Brazilian monkey wood table.
The Brazilian monkey table. It kind of it reminds me of like you guys bought a Northwoods table from Law and Order, and I'm being interrogated. I didn't do it. I swear. I'm pleading the fifth.
Got the lights on you too. Right?
Got the lights. Let me have a Coke. I didn't do it. I'll name anybody. Just let me go to the bathroom. My mission, I guess I kind of get it from my mom a little bit. She says you got to go through life planting seeds of knowledge, passing on the things you know or don't know. Or in all the classes, we talk a little bit about philosophy and knowledge and stuff like that. And and I'm not picking on anyone's faith or anything else, but I'll ask, are you Catholic? Are you Christian? Or what are you? And we had this one kid in the class raise his hand. He's like, well, I'm Catholic, sir. It's born and raised Catholic. It's perfect. Why are you born and raised Catholic? He looks at me and he goes, well, it was my parents. Parents Catholic. Yep. Grandparents Catholic? Well, of course, sir. I'm like, all right. I go on a limb. Great-grandparents Catholic? Yes, sir. I said, have you ever thought about any other religions? What? I'm like, seriously, if we all go through life with the blinder, because this is what we were taught, and not picking on anyone's parents or anything else either, but
yeah.
Pick up a book that's different. Pick up a Bible that's different. You don't have to like it or agree with it, but you got to consider it. My mom calls that enlightenment. I don't have to agree with your opinion on politics or life or food or whatever you're discussing. I have to at least consider your position. And again, I may consider your position and go, you know what? That son of a bitch actually has a point that I should consider. Or it just solidifies my point that that's a crazy motherfucker and I'm never going to believe anything he's got to say. I'm never going that path. But if you're not going to at least listen, because that's the big thing. And you try to tell people listening is not just listening and sitting there going, I have an answer, I have an answer, I have an answer, I have an answer. Wait till he stops. Oh, there's the answer. Listen to the conversation. Follow it. And again, don't fall for anything, right? The old saying, if you fall for anything, you stand for nothing. So I want to get people to understand that just because you saw things or raised things a certain way, there's another perspective. Like, again, don't agree with all of it, but at least consider it. Not going to hurt you. Not going to hurt you to consider that maybe that head needs a little something else rattling around in there. Knowledge never hurts.
Yeah.
And another quote I got from a guy years ago after I got out of high school, first job was a house painter. I'm painting houses, doing my thing. And this guy, Jimmy Benzo, walks up and he's like, hey, kid, he goes, you want to be a painter? I'm like, right. That's what we're doing here. I'm painting houses. He's like, no. He goes, you're painting houses. I go, but you want to be a painter? There's a difference? He's like, yeah, there's a difference. So he started explaining we know how to paint, we know how to mix colors and this and that. And I was like, oh, yeah, I do want to do that. I'm like, where'd you learn that? The old guy taught me. He's like, but I got knowledge. It's my job to pass it on to you. He said, so they can't take knowledge from me. I have to pass it on. Otherwise, it's lost. So that's one of the things I love about teaching is passing on the knowledge, passing on the crap that I...
Sure, but it's valid. Like, it's extremely valid. I talk about that a lot on this show. Passing on knowledge is what we're supposed to do, especially as craftsmen, if that's what you're going to call yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think you get the right to call yourself a craftsman if you don't pass on what you've learned.
If you're passing on nothing, and I've worked with these guys who, I'm over here doing this, right? I'm doing it. Well, why? None of your business, kid.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to learn here.
Yeah.
Go over there and learn from someone else. Okay. Thanks. And those are the guys I never wanted to work with. I never liked, whatever. Yeah. What was the point? I mean, if you have something that's worth passing on, whether it's knowledge of a skill or knowledge of whatever, I've got this super secret knowledge about UFOs. Pass it on.
Yeah. No kidding.
Say something.
Yeah.
But if you, especially, I get that at some point a dude has to struggle to learn something. But if you're watching them continually struggle to do the same thing and you don't stop them and say, hey, this is a better way to do this shit. This is simpler. Use this tool, throw that fucking tool out, pay attention here, kid. Then you're just doing a disservice to everybody, including yourself. Because down the road, who's going to respect you for that? Because
they can still go through the motions themselves and you're just guiding them, hey, go this way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But they still got to figure it out.
Still got to figure it out.
It's just a nudge. It's just a guide. It's just whatever, right?
Yeah. You can't lead them by the hand.
Yeah.
Because no one learns being led by the hand.
Yeah.
But either teach them, don't watch them struggle, or don't bother.
Yeah.
But none of the, I don't know, just not good at watching someone struggle or someone not teach. It just, to me, that doesn't make any sense.
Big believer as well is like those people that say, I know everything, right? I've done this. It's like, okay, but have you taught it? No, I don't teach. I don't believe in, Well, then you've never really learned because you've never really learned until you've taught.
Until you've taught.
I'm a big believer in that.
For sure. And at the end of every class we have, we tell the students, take out a piece of paper, write 2 sentences, write a book. I don't care. Tell us if we were good or bad. And this is going back a couple of years. We bought mostly good reviews about our teaching and classes and everything good was. And I finally got a set of bad reviews. I was thrilled. Yeah. I was like, we got bad reviews.
We can do better.
Yeah, and the 2 guys teaching the class were like, well, we got bad reviews. That really hurt. I'm like, we finally got bad reviews. We finally got something to learn. Because if all we're ever going to get is, you guys are the greatest teachers. Eventually you start to think you're the greatest teacher.
Yeah, then the head just goes like this.
Yeah, no, we need bad things to be said about us because that's how you learn. We learn from students.
Yeah.
You're not learning from students or people, then you're not learning.
Yeah.
Too much experience available in this life to not pay attention to it.
Yeah. You talk about bringing up philosophy and stoicism, and I know just from knowing you and following you or whatever that you're big on philosophy and stoicism.
Yeah.
But that's also part of the things I like about being a Stoic or the Stoics from the past or those philosophers from the past is like you can be from any genre or sector or industry or whatever label you want to throw on that. You don't have to just be this big. You think a philosopher, you don't have to be this big, high level king, grandeur, government official. No, you can be the janitor or you can be the line worker, whatever it is. It doesn't above, below, it doesn't matter, right? That's what I love about that.
Yeah. And I like to explain to people that philosophy and philosopher, not the same, right? If your philosophy on life is to go hard, die young, and look good in the grave, yep, that's a philosophy. If your philosophy is, I'm going to move slow, I'm going to pay attention, I'm going to take care of my body every day of my life, those are philosophies to live by. Philosophers are the ones who come up with the grand things that make you think, like Rumi. You spent the whole day looking for the necklace that's been around your neck. Right?
So true.
But when you think about that, you're like, what does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then you finally think about it and you're like, oh, it does make sense. I've been looking for something that I've always had. Yeah. So there's a difference there. But I think a lot of people with no philosophy, guidance, whether it's, I believe in God, I'm following these rules. I believe in Buddha, I'm following these rules. I like the Stoics. I like these other philosophers. Without some kind of guiding principles in life, most of those people kind of flounder. They're thing to thing, no real direction. And I don't want to say they're less successful, but I've noticed a lot of them are also less happy, without some...
It's like values, right?
Some values, yeah. And we get them from wherever, parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, friends, who knows? I mean, you never know where they come from. So...
Is it something, so you talk about this a lot when you're teaching as well? You mix this whole like bigger life kind of stoicism type stuff in with your teaching the trade even?
Always do.
I like that.
In the classrooms, and especially we're in the lead room, I have a picture of Miyoto Musashi. And it says you can only train or you can only fight the way you practice. And I've had a few people say that doesn't apply to anything. It does. I mean, if you read Musashi, he fought like he was in a battle every time. Yep. Someone there or not.
Yep.
And if there was ever a battle, well, guess what? He was prepared.
Better be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're in this room splicing cable, and let's face it, it's Disney World conditions there, right? It's perfect. If you can't do that well here, then how well are you going to do in the field in poor conditions? So practice it like it's perfect and build it in the field like it's perfect. If you're not going to practice like it's right, it's not going to be right when you do it. So same. Practice like you're fighting in the field. Build it like you're fighting in the field. It translates. It makes you better because, in this business, we've heard a lot of this. That's close enough, right?
Yeah.
How many times have you heard that?
I can see it from my house.
I can see it from my house. Yeah. Nope. It's going in the dirt, kid. No one's going to know.
Yeah.
Someone's going to know when the power goes out. So yeah, build it right. It's not good enough. It's not close enough. And I'll joke around. There's a whole bunch of videos on me online recently joking around about it's close enough. Those are, that's all just fun. You've got to do it right because if you're not doing it right, it's not going to last. And eventually, as we're all well aware, this isn't like the 60s where I can work in New York. I think I'm going to go to California because no one will know who I am. You work in New York now and you say, I'm going to go to California. Your name's there before you even finish packing. So it's different. Your reputation has a lot to do with how well you do or don't do.
Yeah. Reputation's global. We've been talking a lot about that lately as well.
Yes, it's
a big deal. It's bigger than most people think it is now, especially with technology the way it is. Your reputation's definitely beating you places.
It is.
Many years before you get there, actually.
Yes. And I was talking to a young kid, and he goes, that whole reputation thing is such an outdated philosophy, and no one cares about that. I was like, let me put it to you in, I guess, whatever they call them now, Gen Y term. It's your personal brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's just kind of looking at me. He's like, what? Like, you're familiar with brands, right? If I put up the Walmart logo, I bet you could identify it. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a brand. You've got a brand reputation. So if your personal brand has a terrible reputation, well, guess what? He's just like, hey, you got to put everything in the right perspective.
I had this so crazy how people still don't even realize that. But there's still HR guys. I had an HR guy a few years ago. I was like, I went up to them. We were trying to hire somebody. I'm like, hey, did you check out their social media? He's like, no, why would I do that? You don't do that. You don't want to hire off of something like that. I'm like, you do. What are you talking about?
Right.
Like, that's the first thing I'm looking at. What do you like? If he's a complete meathead
right.
on his social media, like probably gonna dig a little deeper when we come to interview him, if I even interview him at all, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely.
Probably because I come from more of a private, I keep a lot of things private. I mean, there's people who have known me 20 years and they can say, hey, he's been married a long time. He's got a lot of kids and a lot of dogs. Okay. It's good. So my personal private life isn't out there. It's for me, social media there's things I'll put up, but I'm not exposing my life the way some people do. Maybe it is generational, but I don't understand like exposing your entire fucking life to the entire fucking world.
Yeah.
For the entire fucking world to criticize every fucking thing you do because you put it on some page.
Yeah.
And then you're mad because you got criticized.
Yeah.
Well, dude.
There's a difference though. Like, and I agree with you on that. You don't have to put your personal life on there, but somebody can get a good understanding of who you are.
Right.
And you can still develop a set of values that you want to talk about and show all the time, like yours. Like, I'm going to talk about stoicism and philosophy and life and how to be a better person and, all these different things. You talk about experiences you've had through like pain and suffering. Yeah. And that's good because it's like helping people, And so you can choose what you want to talk about and what you don't want to talk about. And yes, you don't have to tell everybody about your vacation last week with your wife and kids and dogs.
Right.
Right. You don't have to show that. It's not a requirement, but something you can do. And I've been talking about it. I've been talking about it a lot, and I'm going to continue talking about this whole building a personal brand thing because I think it's like an important thing to do. For one, it gives you as an individual some leverage out there as well, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen, like job related, non-job related. Like, you talk about reputation. Mm-hmm. You can build a reputation within this industry that you work in, if that's what you want. You can build that reputation off a certain set of values that can help you open doors in life, like for sure, and it doesn't have to do with your kids and dogs. No. It doesn't have to be that. You can separate the two.
You can. And you talked about the pain thing briefly, and I will honestly admit it took me a long time to come to that decision. Because, this has been since 1997. Been dealing with various pain things. And, if anyone had ever asked me in the past, I'd be like, I'm fine, don't worry about it. That's just who I was. And then talking to actually my nephew, and he had said, there's probably a lot of people in your similar situation. Yeah. And if you've got a leading voice, you should bring some awareness to it. You should discuss it. Maybe someone else will get some help out of it. And, for years I never did therapy or anything like that. I'm a very forward-moving person. Yeah. It's in the past. It's in the past. We're going forward. Can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. Right? But I just got to go forward. That's the way I am. If I'm going to continue to dwell in the past and I haven't already learned from it, then I'm probably not going to learn from it. There are those things that come through, when you think about, shit, 5 years ago this happened and now I finally figured it out. But talking about the issues with the pain and the long-term effects of the accident and the mental health issues that go with it and everything, he was right. Someone's got to start saying something, because I'm sure a lot of dudes in this trade. They've been hurt. It didn't end their career or anything like that, but they still get up, they go to work. Probably hurts. They won't talk about it. They won't get help for it. Or it's like some of other people, there's the liquid medication for it. There's plenty of prescription drugs out there, which leads to a whole other set of issues, right? On crews where, guys shouldn't be at work or he's fucked up. Well, do we let him work? Do we sit him in the truck? Well, if we send him home, he's broke. right? There's that whole dynamic too, which super interesting, right? I mean, I'm sure you've had a couple guys in your crew where I'm like, I don't think that guy should be here today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, I don't know, I got a lot of crap for this when I said this, but it's different now. It's not like the old days where most companies are barely surviving. That guy comes in the morning and there's clearly something wrong and you've been working with him for a long time, sit him down. If he says there's nothing wrong, great, there's nothing wrong. Sit in this truck till you're better. We can afford it today. And the other place we fall down on this is, man, Ryan, man, he looked like shit yesterday. It was a bad day for that dude. I don't know what the problem was, but he said he's fine. Well, he's fine, we're good. We don't follow up the second day or the third day. You may come in the second day and he's like, well, he looks better. All right, cool, let's go. Maybe he's not better. Maybe he still needs a day to sit, or he just wants to talk, or, you know. And again, it doesn't have to be during work, after work, but those follow-ups, and even if it's simple text, hey, dude, you still good?
Yeah.
That simple reach out, I think it means more than a lot of people understand, especially if you're struggling with
text 3 words, just checking in.
Just checking in.
Yeah, it means the world. I love that. We need to do better in that category. I think it's tough for people because I know for myself, when I get around those people, it's like, it's hard because you're not trained in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you've just not experienced trauma, you don't know the effects of it. Sometimes you don't know the warning signs, like things like that. But everybody can just like check in on the people they care about. Yeah. And just doing that is like maybe one step in the whole process, you know? Yeah.
For sure. And plus, I mean, let's be honest, what business we in, right?
Yeah.
We're a bunch of dudes, right?
Yeah.
Look at us. We're not going to talk about it. We don't want to admit it. You know, maybe 1 or 2 guys we're close with, we might have that conversation.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're just going to swallow that and see what we can do.
Yeah.
But that's, and again, that's a bit ingrained in some of us, right?
Yeah.
Rub some dirt on a kid and move on.
I like the technology is providing ways to get more professional help these days, like, you know, things like BetterHelp. You know, the ability to text professional therapists, not even have to get on a call, but just like at any time you need help, you can send a text and get some sort of a professional response. Stuff like that's awesome. It
truly is.
You know, timely response too, if you just need it in the moment. So like I just encourage people, like, pass that advice on. Not everybody knows about that.
No.
You know, and organizations do need to do a better job at the whole people strategy, like them and the mental health side of it, especially for industries like ours.
For sure.
We're still not hitting the mark.
No, because we'll have safety stand down as soon as something happens.
Yeah.
But what's wrong with occasionally having a stand down because, hey, let's check in. How's everybody doing? You want some coffee and donuts?
Yeah.
You need 10 minutes to bullshit? Something. It's, and I get it that yes, it all affects bottom line and profitability and all those things. That's super important. Otherwise, we don't do stuff like this.
Yeah.
You know, but at some point, you know, maybe it's not the right equation, but I equate it to go backs. So I got a crew that is just crushing the job, right? They're done 2 days early. Profitability is good. We're good. Everything's great. Utility comes back and goes, nope, you screwed that up. Now I'm pulling the crew off of another job, sending them back there to fix this job. Profitability gone. So if at some point, if someone's not doing well and we think they're doing well, just keep pushing on until they fall down.
Yeah.
Now we've lost someone. Either they're hurt or, you know, unfortunately in this business, suicide's a high thing. We've lost people. Could we have just stopped and skipped the go back? And again, I'm trying to solve world problems, but if we had a cigar and a bourbon, we'd be done.
Yeah. No, a couple more bourbons and we'd be done.
Yeah, maybe 3, maybe 5.
Yeah.
But if we got to do a better job of not, I hate to say the whole no man left behind thing, but if we see someone struggling, why can't we just stop and say, hey, come on, right?
Yeah.
And whether it is sitting in a truck after work, taking them out for dinner, whatever. Maybe it's something someone needs once. Maybe it's something that they need consistently. You know, are they having serious problems at home? And realistically, are they ever going to give you the full story the first time around? No. None of us would. But if that little bit of just constant nudging, I think would help. I think it does.
Yeah. One thing that popped into my head that you've got some experience with now is like, you made that decision to start writing and talking about pain that you're suffering. And I know you're a person, obviously, just from knowing you, that you like, and I said it to you in that comment on that one post as well, like, you're not wanting sympathy from this. You're literally using this for education. But what's that barrier? How did you cross that barrier of bringing it forward and talking about it? Because I think that that's something that is a tough barrier for people to cross. Like, if they're suffering with something, whether it's pain or whether it's like a mental health issue, like stopping the show for me, like, I don't want you to stop the show for me. Like,
No.
do your thing. I don't want to be the last thing that you want to stop for. That's why I keep going, and that's why I keep my mouth shut. Like, that's kind of the feeling. What's your advice for like crossing that barrier and how you could approach it if you are the person that's suffering and does need help? Because you've kind of pushed that.
It is it's a deeply personal decision. And I know this is something we also really don't do anymore, but you've got to sit down with yourself and say, I've kept this to myself all these years for these reasons. If I let this go for these reasons, am I going to get this feedback or that feedback? And honestly, I did talk to my wife about it a little bit, because we got to, like I said, I've always been really private.
Sure.
And as dumb as it sounds, because again, generational and what we do for a living, as soon as I start talking about how bad this all can be, well, the first things I know a couple people are going to say is, you pussy, right? You're a weak bitch. Maybe. But that's a part of an ego thing too, right? You got to get past that, because there was a time in my life I was like 260 pounds. I was, got to rip off a 300-pound manhole lid. Watch this.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to consider all the things that'll happen when you decide to walk that path. And will they make it worse for you because you can't deal with that kind of negative feedback? Or are you good with it? I'm good with it. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Fuck them. Let's just go run it and see what the results are. So, and that's kind of where I was. It's just like, I know dudes, I still know guys who would never admit that every day it's hard to get up. I'm fine. Dude, you were hurt just as bad as I was. You are not fine. I'm fine. Okay, you're fine. Maybe one day someone will say, you know what? Maybe I should get some help too. And it's helped me, some therapy has helped me with some clarity. It's helped me sort some things out. That probably the biggest thing was, hey, that's really not the most important thing you got to deal with right now. Fix this first. So for me, that's been a big help, is the, I guess, prioritization of what you should or shouldn't fix, or what you do or don't need to work on. That's been a big help.
For anyone who's thinking right now, okay, well, what's John talking about? Give some context as to like what happened and how it's started, I guess.
Let's see if we can get
through
through this.
It's a life of abuse, but
Let's see if we can get through this. All right, so it started, this was October of 94, if I remember correctly. Our job was to dig up a cable fault in the street. So it's a bucket truck, or not bucket, I'm sorry, a backhoe, jackhammer, dump truck, digging up cable fault in the right turn lane. So go out there, and it's cold for October. It's cold.
Where is this?
In Chicago. Literally the night before, I bought a brand new pair of Carhartts because my other ones were wore out. $68 at the time. Damn. Right?
Those same Carhartts would be worth like hundreds of dollars.
Yes, they
thousands of dollars.
Just
like from that era.
Just the old bib coveralls, I worked with a guy who was notorious for never dressing for the cold. Never. And this is back in the day when the crew leaders were in the seat. And, crack the window. Hey, kid, get over here. All right, they yell at you through the window, and then they shut the window and look at you like, you still here? Right? So it's a 90-pound jackhammer. It's a backhoe. If you ever run a 90-pound hammer,
yeah,
tired. Yeah. So me and the splicer were trading off backhoe, jackhammer, backhoe, jackhammer. I was on the backhoe, he was on jackhammer, and of course he's freezing because he's not dressed for the weather. I want to go sit in the truck, whatever. I get off, jump on the backhoe. And I should also say that when I went to school for 8 weeks, I got out of school after 8 weeks, and I was given hard hat and glasses. And they were like, kid, if you need it. But I mean, really. There's been times in my life, I know no one believes me, I have been on a pole terminating cable with live 12 above me wearing my shorts. There's no hard hat, there's no glasses, there's nothing. It was the old belts with just a single belt. So anyway, so we didn't really have hard hat, and we had them, but it wasn't a thing. And this is right at the beginning of the push. You're going to wear your hard hat and glasses.
That just blows your mind, right? Like the beginning of the push of hard hats. We're talking about. Wow, jeez.
Yeah. And so get off the backhoe, hop on a jackhammer, run that 90-pounder, and the helmet and hard hats running down, glasses. And I'm talking the old, like, glasses, those big, massive brown safety glasses, just driving them into my nose. And I was like, this is bullshit. And literally, last thing I remember, fuck this fucking goddamn hard hat. I hate this fucking thing. I hate these fucking glasses. And then, if you've ever been completely knocked out, completely, the gears are first gear, second gear. We're getting there. Laying there. Open my eyes. Shit. Why am I looking at the sky? Yep, I'm looking at the sky. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? Is that guy telling me not to move? Why is this guy yelling at me? And then we hit fifth gear, and then the pain floods through my body. And these are a couple paramedics. They're getting the big neck thing on me. They're sliding the whole backboard under me. Don't move, don't move. What the fuck is going on? All right. Ambulance ride. First big ambulance ride of my life. Get in. Throwing all the crap on you, throwing the IVs in you. It's weird. Off to the hospital. Get me in there. Drop me on the bed. And I see the giant scissors. And the guy goes, get his clothes off. I'm like, wait, I just bought these cards. You can't cut them off. And he's like, you want a bed? I paid like $60. Anyway, in there, everything off. X-rays, which was then new technology, MRIs, all this stuff. So I end up laying in bed, and I've got the neck thing on, right? I got both my arms sling like this, and I've got the plastic piece that goes from the bottom of your rib cage to your knees. Right around your middle section is like a belt. So I'm laying there. Laying there in the hospital. At the time, like I said, bigger guy, close to 260. And I think at this point in my life, I've had a couple colds. And wife walks in. God damn it. She's never seen anything like that. She's never even seen me, like I said, sick. And so she walks in. And I'm laying there. And I'm sure her head, are we ever going back to work? Is he dead? Is he never going to walk? And I've got to see her. It's tough when they look at you like what the fuck, and you have no answers, because at this point I don't know. I know it hurts a lot.
You don't even know what happened at that point, how you got in that position.
I had no clue why I was even there. I just know I was jackhammered. So lots of time in the hospital, lots of tests and all the stuff, and my first experience with pain medicine. They're like, hey, we're going to give you this stuff. You're going to be on cloud 9. I'm like, and the first time in my life, I'm thinking, cloud 9 right now might not be bad.
Yeah.
This hurts. They give me this big shot, and then they're like, how do you feel? And I'm like, same. Nothing happened. Anyway, so they do all these tests, whole thing. This really young doctor comes in at the end. He's like, all right, he goes, we've done all the tests and everything. He goes, you have soft tissue damage. He doesn't say it's going to say it's a good thing that you're got pretty heavy neck and shoulders. He goes, could be worse. I was like, okay. He's like, probably have to do some therapy, whatever. He's like, but you'll be back to work. I'm like, well, thank God I'm going back to work. That's a good thing. He said, but this will catch up to you one day. I'm like, whatever. Look at me. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get stupid doctors. What do they know? Left. So finally found out from the guys who were there, jackhammer the street. Crew leader decides he's going to start taking the backhoe and catching all the stuff I'm throwing in the pit. All the backhoe goes, conk. Hits me square on top of the head. Oh. The other splicer said, I'm getting out of the truck, and I look. He said, and I see you literally get hit. Hand stays on a jackhammer, fly up. This hand stays, finally flip, skid, right out into traffic. Luckily, the light was red. Oh, man. So, and luckily, also, the fire department was 2.5 minutes away, literally. So that's how fast they were there, got me in the ambulance, and took me off. Kind of forgot about the whole thing, and then I started having problems with my hands and my feet, and went to a doctor, and he's like, well, you have peripheral neuropathy, and I'm like, oh, great. And I'm like, where do I get that? He's like, oh, he goes, you ever have a spinal injury? Yeah. Yeah, actually I have.
He's hitting hit by tobacco.
Yeah. And he's like, well, that's what it's from. Oh. All right. He's like, I just live with it. Okay.
How many years after?
About a year. Mm. So with peripheral
You see me. Got a stuff you on right now.
Peripheral neuropathy is your body trying to rebuild all of the fine nerves in your hands, all the fine feeling stuff, hands, feet, whatever.
Okay. But
the process of rebuilding it, it's because they never rebuilt, so it's constantly rebuilding, and I either feel like everything's on fire, burning, pins and needles, or my grandkids love it when it's mostly numb, because they'll just kind of walk up and rip out a handful of hair. Papa! Oh, thanks. Love that. Damn. So it's in my hands, it's in my feet, it's always there. And then literally about 20 years to the date, I went to work what we called a marathon. I know people don't believe me when I say this, but there were times in my life where I could go to work like Friday and come home Tuesday. Not come home and sleep in the middle, but sleeping on cable, sleeping in trucks. And this was a Tuesday to Friday marathon. We just worked. Got home, told my wife, I'm like, I am so tired. I'm going to bed. I know it's Saturday. I know I got cut grass and this and that, but I'm just not getting up in the morning. I need to sleep. She's like, whatever, there's really nothing going on. Get some rest. Go to bed. About 2:32 a.m. I'm pretty sure there's something wrong with my neck. And I'm like, no, it's just the pillows, and doing a whole, rearranging everything. Finally back to sleep. Yes. 9:32 a.m. I look at the clock, and I'm pretty sure someone's got a knife in my neck going, you deserve this. And I'm just like, oh, this is bad. This hurts. This is like pain. I was laying there. My wife happens to walk in the bedroom. She looks right at me. I don't say a word to her. She just looks at me. She goes, I'm calling a fucking ambulance. I'm like, where are you going? I slept late. And she's run away. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm like, where's she going? Why'd she call an ambulance? I'm like, what the hell? I could just get up and go talk to her. Oh, that doesn't move. Oh shit. This is bad and that doesn't move. Then I'm trying to get out of bed. I'm like, my leg is, this is bad.
You literally can't move the right side of your body.
Cannot move it. Can kind of move my leg a bit.
Sure.
So another ambulance ride. Yay. Get to the hospital, ER. Doctor's like, poking me. And I'm like, Keep moving my arm. I'm like, how many times are we going to do this? It's not working.
And your neck's still extreme pain.
Just pain. Just got awful pain. So doctor comes in and gets a nurse. And I'm like, all right. And he's like, pain level. I'm like, well, you're not a Spinal Tap fan, but this one goes to 11. So he's like, get him some pain medicine, please. So she comes in, get this new pain medicine. You're going to feel great. Please. She comes in. About 20 minutes later, nurse comes in. You look like you're in pain. Yes. Yes. She's like, on a scale of 1 to 10. Again, this one goes to 11.
Sorry. Don't mean to laugh.
Everyone in the room is laughing, and my wife's like, you're still an idiot. Yes.
11.
Doctor comes in, he's like, you in pain? Yes. He looks at the nurse, goes, you give him that Dilaudid stuff? She's like, yes. He's like, what do you weigh? Like about 252-ish. He looks at the nurse and he's like, let's get an elephant shot going.
Uh-huh.
My wife's like, what's that? The nurse is like, oh, he'll love it. So they both walk out. I'm like, Nurse comes back in. She's got like all these needles. I'm like, where are we going? She goes, oh, you're going like to the moon. I'm like, great, because this sucks. My wife goes, what are you giving him? She goes, we're going to give him an anti-anxiety medicine. We're going to give him muscle relaxer. We're going to give him morphine. We're going to give him Dilaudid. She's like, so he's going to be out. Okay. So they're just jamming the needle full of whatever. Doctor comes in a half hour later. Is like, whoa. He goes, you're awake? Yes.
Oh
He's
my
like,
gosh.
how's your neck feel? It hurts.
Oh.
He's like, you should be like, no, I'm not. So then they're like, okay, we're admitting you to the hospital. We did the MRI. You get serious problems in your neck. Sounds good. Okay, good. Monday morning, Dr. Erickson comes in. Nothing is out of place. Like perfect hair, perfectly pressed coat. The pens are perfect. Embroidery, the whole thing. Nothing. Nothing's out of place. Comes in.
Freaking Doogie Howser here.
Yeah. He comes in. He's like, hey, I'm Dr. Erickson. First thing, I'm a pioneer in the field. Second thing, tomorrow morning, I'm going to cut a little hole in your neck right here. He says, we're going to take out your C5 disc. He goes, and we're going to put these pins and screws and a little cage in there. He says, whole thing will take about 3 hours. So I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7. Turns around and walk out. Well, I was like, where are you going? He stops and looks, and he goes, what? He goes, I just answered all your questions. She's like, you didn't answer a single question. You just told us what you were going to do. He's like, yes, that covers it. I'm like, wait a minute.
Just straight up, hey?
Just,
like,
yeah.
Zero personality, just like.
Kind of nothing.
Wow.
So then he finally came back and answered some questions, and I'm like, my biggest question, am I going back to work? He's like, well, of course. Just give it a couple months. All right, good. So I ended up going back to work and everything, and ended up finding out that another guy had the same surgery where I worked. He never went back to work. He may not have had much personality, but he was a top-notch doctor, and I have a very small scar, so I'm not complaining.
Was there, like, did they miss something the first time? Like, was it your neck fractured or something? Or, like, it was just compressed and damaged or something that it just wore out in a year?
The compression it's a long-term thing.
Okay.
Like my neuropathy is long-term. It only gets worse. And I tell people in class, so if you're sitting there talking, you could probably reach over and grab that cup right there, pick it up, drink it. You don't even got to look at it because you know it's there. I know it's there, and I can reach over and grab it, but I have to actually make sure that's in my hands because otherwise I'll drop it or I'll.
Sure.
I look like I'm
you
drunk.
kind of got to like get your hand there
I've
too.
got to make sure I can feel it and see it.
Wow.
It's a two-way thing, which makes it really hard to splice cable nowadays.
Yeah, no kidding. Sheesh.
But yeah, I don't think anyone overlooked anything. It's another big word, degenerative thing.
Sure.
So
it's got to make cable work. Like it's all with your hands.
Yes. Makes it real difficult sometimes. And that last post I put on LinkedIn, there are days where like the second my eyes are open, it's a bad day.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything yet. And the only reason I'm going to get out of bed is because I don't want to pee on myself. God, I gotta fucking get up.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand it because I can put on the face. I can put all this pressed on bullshit on. I look so good. Look at me. It's all a lie. It really is mostly a lie.
Damn. You have this surgery. Have you had anything else done to it? Is there anything else they can do?
No, it's degenerative.
You just live with it. So it's a cage and screws and plates and.
Yeah, it's a lot of that.
Just to kind of like fuse the discs together.
Yeah, they pull the disc and eventually the bone just fuses in. So now instead of just 5, it's 3, 4, and 5. And last time I was at the doctor, he said, we'll call it 6 because now it's just a straight bone fusion. It did it by itself. So like, the other day we're at the ranch, they were like, hey, we got to look at some of these kids climbing poles. I was like, as long as I can stand across the street.
Can I lay down?
I can't, that's about the extent of looking up.
Yeah. Gotta look from a distance so I can see.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, that's rough. You've led it's led into other things, or the other injuries you've had from other parts of trying to do the job and compensating for.
Yeah. I think the knee replacement and all the back problems are part of all the compensatory work from, you can't stand straight, you can't do this, so
Yeah.
had my right knee replaced twice. Yeah, that was fun.
I listen to a podcast a lot by James Gearing. It's called Behind the Shield, and he was a firefighter, and his podcast kind of serves that the firefighters, like military, law enforcement, that sort of. And he's been like a huge proponent of like sleep deprivation and the effects of sleep deprivation on working life in general, and just like what it can do not getting enough sleep, and long-term effects of that. And he was describing it one time like, so it's all great. You go to a job site, and in this case, you show up at a fire, and it's the beginning of your shift, and you're fresh, and you're whatever,
Yep.
and you're focused, and you're doing all the right things, and you're paying attention, and you're bending, and you're lifting with your legs, and you're doing all the right things. But by hour 18 or day 2, fighting that fire or just being on site on a major, you're working hard, you're in your suit, like you're exhausted. Now you go to like pick up that generator or something, and it's like you just lean down the side and yard it up, or just like throw it by yourself, and that's the start of it, and that's the compound. And I like related to that right away with like line work, and cable work's no different. It's the same thing. That's very physically demanding, and stretch that over long periods of time. I think storms are getting better now, but they're still, especially down here in the US, you can just work all the hours you want when you first show up, right? Like you can just go 3 days straight if you want.
Yep.
Without sleeping. But the ramifications of that are huge. And I know it's a big pocketbook, like it's a big payout, which is
for sure
why everyone wants to do it, and it's great, and that's awesome. But at some point you got to look at that going like, well, it's a pay now or pay later.
It is
kind of thing,
It is. And the sleep deprivation, besides the effects on your body, like you said, just now you start cutting corners because you're just tired and worn out. But long-term mental health, just as bad, because sleep is big for regenerating a body. And I can't remember this guy's name. I just saw this posted on LinkedIn, because now there's a big push, bring back the trades, which we need, which is good. And he said, bring back the trades is a great idea. He said, here's the thing. He goes, you can go pay for your education now, maybe have some student loans and all that. He said, you can go to work and pay for education later with your body.
Yeah.
And he's 100% spot on. I know a lot of dudes in this business. I don't think I know any who have gotten out of this business without back, shoulder, hands, some injury, some problem, some lifelong, unless you do.
No.
I don't know a single one.
No.
So you can pay one way or the other. And again, the working the stupid hours, like when I was in California, we worked 38 hours straight on some fucking heat storm. A lot of money, yeah.
Yeah.
Were we a bag of shits for the next 2 days? Yeah. Do we still go to work? Yeah. But right? I mean, like you said, it's a big payout, but and we're kids. We're not thinking about that long term. Not at all. Never will. And we don't listen to the old guys, because I didn't listen to the old fucking guys. I remember this old guy telling me once, jumped in a manhole, got my shit on, go to work, and there's like, that much water in the manhole. Hey, John, we're going to get the pump out, pump that water out. Fuck that, we ain't pumping this water out. No, we're going to get the pump out. No, fuck that, I'm not putting that pump away later. He's like, we're going to pump the water out. We'll put the pump and everything away. Oh, fuck that, just forget it. And I'm arguing with him about pumping out water. He's like, hey, kid. He goes, you know how much water pressure you're standing in? What are you talking about? Standing in the water. I got my boots on. He's like, all that water. Old guys, you don't know what you're talking about. Get the fuck out of here. That son of a bitch, he was right. Yeah. All those years of standing in that water and all that, besides the pressure of your whole body, being on your feet for, again, I don't think I'm crazy, but standing on manholes literally for 20 some hours, building splices in water is even worse. Terrible effects on you. Pay with your body or pay with your brain, one or the other.
Yeah. nobody wants to listen though. Like it just, again, kids out there, like I call you kids because you're younger than me. That's the only reason I call you kids. You're fully grown adults, and I know that, but just listen. Like, so one of the things I do like about social media now is that you have access to education, and not just social media, but just even new technology. You have access to the right way to do this, or the knowledge of the right way to do things.
Yes.
And the knowledge to learn practical applications to do things correctly when you're talking about ergonomics and like looking after yourself and your body, that you can directly apply to the job site.
Yep.
You know, it's call a deadlift picking up a generator. It's the same. Principles are the same. Like, let's learn these things and then apply them when you get out on the job site, and take the time to do it, because there is nobody holding a gun to your head.
No.
Saying you got to get that generator, or you got to climb that pole only using 4 steps to come to the ground. Like, just think a little different and, look after the body that you have, because it's honestly your greatest asset. It's the thing, like, it's the only thing that's paying you. It's a service-based, job. You have to, you're trading time for money. You're trading physical work for money.
Yep.
Yeah, you won't be able to do it.
Nope. And like you just said, we make our living with this.
Yeah.
And if you're making your living like this, a little harder, right? You do have to take care of yourself. And you equated it to like pulling a deadlift. Hey, those strong men?
Yeah.
They're really strong.
Yeah. Take a look at Ronnie Coleman now.
And guess what they do?
Yeah.
They do it right.
Yeah.
And that deadlift totally equates to what we're doing.
Yeah.
So it may not be the same field, but if you can figure out that is exactly what I should be doing to protect myself, whether it's mental health, physical health, eating better, all those things. Those things all relate. They don't all come from the same field, right? There's no one field that's got it covered. There's no one dude in this business, like you said, who knows it all. And hey, if you do know it all, retire.
Yeah. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Please retire. There's no one. And it's unlimited what you can get on the internet. Hell, you can actually get free classes from like MIT.
Yeah.
Come on now. Get the education, learn the things, and pass that on. If you've got something that you just read today that's really valuable, hey, dude, look at this shit. It's incredible. Thanks. Or you're going to get the fuck out of here, kid. Fucking you guys and your phones. But you know what? It's there. When I was coming up, none of that was accessible. That didn't even exist. The other day, my 7-year-old grandson says, Papa, when you were a kid, what did your phone look like? It was on a wall, and you had to go. He's like, no, the phone you played games on. Nope. That didn't exist, kid.
I was just talking to people about this week, actually, telling them about I lived in a rural, like very rural environment. So we had party lines. I don't know if you remember party lines.
Yes.
Like the 3-4 houses in the neighborhood were all on the same piece of copper.
Yep.
So you'd pick up and it was like your friend's mom talking to her mom down. Hey, when are you guys going to be off the phone? Oh, 15 minutes. Okay, I'll call back here. I'll check back in 20 minutes, see if anybody's off. Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
Crazy how it all changes. Yeah. And then, again, he's a kid. He's 7. Doesn't quite get it.
Yeah.
But it's just funny because you look at another thing I hate doing. We're teaching class, and being a guy I am, so nice, I'll throw out some reference like to the Three Stooges or something, and they're all looking at me.
Yeah, that's not going to work anymore.
Like, what? You don't know who those guys are?
Curly Mo, come on.
You don't know who Tom and Jerry are? What are you talking about? Damn it.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Animal House? What? Yeah.
I got nothing anymore. I got nothing. I got to get on TikTok, I guess.
Damn kids.
Oh man, it's so true. It's so true. There's I've been wearing this wearable device now, and it's actually given me pretty cool insights. And this is another thing that's so neat about now. It's newest tech. So this thing will track your variable heart rate with near perfect accuracy. Tracks all forms. Yeah, same sort of thing, right?
Yep.
Isn't it neat?
It's
like
amazing.
I've never been like super interested in tracking metrics and stuff like that, but I got it. I've been wearing it every day for 3-4 months now. And just seeing the effects of anything I do, like when I come to Houston here and I sleep in a hotel for a week,
Yes,
I can see it in
totally see it.
Any sort of graph that I want to look at, the effects of what that does. If I eat like shit, if I have a couple of drinks, even not even like go out for the night,
right?
But just a couple glasses of wine with dinner, I can see that. I can see the effects of it on my health in real time.
It's crazy, huh?
It's wild. And it's so like it's those sorts of things. And so you can start making, so people say, well, what are you doing with all of that? And I said, what I'm personally doing, I don't make like big changes right away. I find like it's like the New Year's resolution thing. It never sticks and lands for me, but I start to make small micro adjustments. I start to have a little less of something if it's bad for me, or I try to like adjust my sleep schedule the best I can, but I think over time, like that's going to fare better for me. Maybe it won't for somebody else, but anyway, I like that we have access to things like this now, right? And the tech only gets better.
It does.
Like,
Yeah, and like you said, it's the old New Year's resolution. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
Nope, you're not. Unless you really have that willpower. It's the old elephant theory. How to eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
Just get there. Make the changes. If it is your New Year's resolution to say stop drinking, great. If you're a drinker, you're not gonna on the second go, I'm never touching a drink again unless you really have that willpower.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe I'll have one this week, or I'll pare my way out of it. Same guys who are trying to quit smoking. How many guys are not successful with the cold turkey thing?
Yeah.
Right. So there's ways to do it, and like I said, I got my fitness tracker. I love it.
Yeah.
And it gives me my heart rate, my sleep. Your pulse ox. Did you have stress at this time? Were you working out and all that stuff? And I can add, like I said, to it. I could put. I've been traveling. I've been on planes. I've been on hotels.
Yep. You got your journal. You can write all your stuff in, which can also track over time.
Yep. And
it's great. Yeah.
It's totally great because you can look back and go, really shouldn't have partied that night because I got like 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I showed my 4 or 5 days in Vegas. It's just like, dude, did you die? Like, it's just red across the board.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, it happens in Vegas.
Well,
I recovered a couple days. But what's interesting too is like you think about those people that that have abused health like consistently every day, whether you are a drinker, smoker, like whatever. I see the effects of when I do it every so often, and how that drastically affects my variable heart rate, my sleep, my recovery, like all of those things. And I can't imagine what that's doing to those people, like consistently over time. Right. It's insane. It's crazy.
And I'm not, not quite in the shape I once was, just because of 18 surgeries later. Lost a little bit.
You have an explanation. Not an excuse.
But I'll get back to it. I started working back out, posted a couple another big word, photos. But I'm also if I'm just sitting around and I know I'm just sitting around for a few days, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't sit well with me. I've got to do something. Even if I'm just pulling weeds or something, I got to get outside. I can't just sit mentally. It's not good for me. I know I get a lot of that from my dad because he was always going, and some of it is part of the example you got when you were a kid, And I think if your parents are sedentary, I think you probably will be too.
Yeah.
But it's like it's your choice to make a change. If you're unhappy with the way your body feels or the way you look, well, change it. I mean, obviously, it's not going to happen overnight. I want to say this is maybe got to be 3 years ago. We had a guy in class, and he was a big, stout dude, and he had his gallon of water, and he'd drinking his water, and how soon will you be out of here? Because I want to make sure I hit the gym. And I was like, dude, you're dedicated. That's great, And he's talking about it, and his buddy's like, hey, show him a picture of you. I'm like, well, I can see. I'm like, what are you, competition? He's like, no. He goes, no. I go, show him the picture of you starting. I'm like, okay. He pulls up a video of this dude, who's like 400 pounds.
No kidding.
Can barely walk. And he got the video from someone making fun of him at a health club because he was trying to do something. He could barely walk 5 steps on a treadmill. But this guy was taking a video. Hurt.
Yeah.
But he said, I knew I had to make a change. He kept going back, walking on a treadmill because that's a good place to start. And some guy just took him under his wing and said, hey, let me help you. And now he's in great shape, made the change. But just because, and I shouldn't say this, but because there are some people who physically can't make changes, and I get that. But if you want to make a change, go make a change.
Yeah.
I mean, we see that. How many testimonials are there to that? I mean, millions. It's a mental game too.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. I love that part about somebody, said, hey, come here, let me take you under your wing.
Yeah.
There's so many lessons in that, whether it's working out or whether it's like just going back to what we were talking about, teaching and passing on what you've learned. There needs to be more of that in our industries, more of that. Hey, come here, kid. Let me show you a few things here. This might help you out.
And it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a little frustrated.
Yeah.
I told all the guys I've hired, I'm like, the hardest thing for you about teaching is watching someone struggle.
Yeah.
Right? Because we do it. We know how to do it. We've been doing it. And then you watch someone struggle with something that is just so simple. You're like, why are they struggling? And you want to do it for them, but you can't.
Yeah.
Let them struggle. Let them learn. They're going to ask you dumb questions. They really are going to ask you dumb questions.
I remember my old man. He said something along the lines of, I got to do this again. Meaning I was brand new, just showed up, like green as green. And he's thinking, God, I've done this so many times and now I got to do it again. I got to bring somebody up from nothing,
Right.
But
That's
I understand.
my own son, and I don't even like you, and I got to teach you.
You're allowed to sigh once in a while.
Yeah.
Wind back a little bit because I want to know. I want to start talking a little bit about underground, and I don't get much. Many people on here. My experience is all overhead, so my network is primarily overhead.
Yep.
I want to talk about underground because I think it's something that doesn't get talked about enough. It doesn't seem like it's glorified or sexy or like whatever you want to use as a term, but it's a really great industry. And I know like guys like yourself that are in it and do it, super passionate about it. It's like, It's life. You love it and you love to talk about it. So I want to talk about that and give you a chance to talk about it. So tell me where you're from and like guide me towards how you got into cable and a little bit about that.
So we'll talk real quick about why it's not sexy or passionate.
Sure.
Look at me on this pole. Look at the mountains in the background. Sweet.
Look at me in this black hole.
Look at me in this black hole with all these cable and dirt and bricks, and I think those are roaches. No, not glamorous.
As a creative, though, I like to think differently. I think I'd like to present that differently.
There's a way to do it.
Yeah.
But it's just, no one's taking pictures of themselves after they just cleaned a filthy manhole and they're covered in.
Yeah.
So I got in the underground way back at ComEd in Chicago in 91. At the time, I was a meter reader. And it was back then, it was, again, way before cell phones and all that. And you had a seniority list of who got to go to school. You had to go to overhead, underground, substation, meter tech, whatever. And I had wanted to go to to underground because I passed pre-climb. The instructor pulled me aside and goes, hey, kid, we got a whole department full of guys who can climb and they will climb, but they don't like it.
Yeah.
We call them the underground. I was never afraid of heights because I was a house painter, did all that stuff. Didn't bother me. It was just those two little things. Just, all right, a little odd. So anyway, they posted an underground school. They were taking 9 people, and I was 68 on the list. And that was back when you would come in as a meter reader, and we would call all the other offices. Hey, underground school got posted. Who's going? Overhead school got posted. And we'd all have our list out and be talking and stuff. And they pull it out, and they're like, yeah, all these guys are going to the underground. And I'm like, I'm going to apply. The guy goes, you're 68. He goes, you're never getting into school. I'm like, whatever. So I applied, went on vacation, came back, and the boss said, hey, you got in the underground school. I'm like, how'd that happen? I'm like, but again, I don't care. And other guys were mad because they didn't apply because they were so far down the list. So it's that if I'm not going to get it, why apply for it thing, right?
Love it.
Who cares?
Apply for every job.
Yep. So I ended up being least senior guy in the class, which didn't matter to me. I didn't care.
You're in.
I'm in. I'm in. Yes. 8 weeks of underground training. We basically did some pole climbing, building stuff in switch gears and transformers and pulling cable and all that kind of stuff. Then with utility, you were 8 weeks. You were out in the field for 9 months. You were back for 6 weeks. You were out in the field for 14 months, and then you were back for 6 weeks. So you got your field time, you got your class time, just back and forth, and just kind of found out I had a knack for it. As crazy as that sounds. I mean, at the end of the first school, the instructor said to me, "You're kind of good at this cable splicing thing." I was like, "Am I?" I thought I was struggling. But somehow I just had a knack. And the first place I went to was the office nobody wanted to go to because there were 8 guys who had been in the underground no less than 28 years per guy.
Wow, that's a lot of experience.
A lot of experience, but a bunch of old cranky dudes.
Sure,
right?
Okay.
So I got in there and, kid, go do this. Kid, go do that. You're a dumb motherfucker. You stupid fucking kid. You can't even put water in a fucking canteen. I don't know where the water's at. Tell me to fill it and put ice in it, but at least tell me where the ice and water's at. And after about a month, one of the older splicers, a guy named Larry Sawula, came up to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to teach you how to be a splicer." I was like, "That's what I'm here for." And the crew leader's there is like, "You're not going to teach him how to be a fucking splicer. He's still got to go to school and the whole thing." And Larry's like, "It's what he's going to do for a living. I'm going to start teaching him right fucking now. There's no reason he can't learn because you guys don't fucking want to do it anymore." He's like, "I'm tired of doing it. Let's teach the new kid." Yes. So Larry was the first guy to really pull me in and start teaching me and would argue with other people about letting me do the work, which a few times I thought we were getting fired because there were some pretty heated arguments about the new kid doing the work. But I owe a lot to Larry because he really took the time to teach me, and not just, kid splice cable. Hey, this is why we're going to do this. This is what the job entails. I mean, he knew a lot. So he's, again, that guy who finally took me in, gave me the experience. So did that, ended up going to another office because of when you top out seniority rules, everybody gets picked new offices. So I ended up going to another office and then another office and another office. And I was fortunate that the office I was in at first, we had a network, we had a lot of lead, we had a lot of URD. So we had all the aspects of the underground. We pulled cable, all of it. I learned it all very well. And then the second office, same thing. Networks, lead, URD, heavy underground, cable pulling. The old days of cleaning manholes with a shovel and a honey bucket and a garden hose.
Yeah, I guess no hydrovacs and stuff, right? So
that would have been nice.
Pumps. Oh, man.
Yeah. No, there was literally a 55-gallon stainless steel honey bucket that you would kick the bottom out of.
No kidding.
You'd bring it down a digger, you'd fill it, get it out. All right. Out it would go. It would go wherever they were going to dump it, whether it was a truck or just whatever, kick the bottom. Yay. Can I have the garden hose? Loosen some of this up. So that's about 16 and a half years of just being in the field, splicing, breaking a lot of safety rules along the way. I've never lied about that. There was a time where me and some of the guys I worked with, we were not officially the bomb squad, but if there was a lead splice that was about this big around, when there's not supposed to be, call them swollen joints, and if something else would blow up, they would pull you aside and go, "Hey, can you get that done?" And now think about how suicidal this sounds. That splice can blow at any time. That splice blows, that thing is 8,000 degrees of electrical fire. We'd walk down a manhole and go, "I can probably build this, fix it before that blows, but you're going to pay me like 30 hours. "Okay, kid, put the timesheets on my desk. You got it." Now think about how suicidal that actually is.
No kidding. You're negotiating.
Negotiating how many hours it'll take
you're gonna get paid
to get something done before something could blow up right in your face.
Insane.
And it was a common thing. It was common.
Yeah. Wow. Did you ever have any, obviously, not blow up in your face, but were there incidences, other crews that did stuff like that had?
I don't know if other crews were doing it because we kind of didn't talk about it. The closest I came is we were working in a manhole, rebuilding a 34 kV splice. And we were down there for, I want to say, about 17 hours straight with racking, re-racking, and putting cable in and all that stuff. And we knew that splice was pretty big, but we could do it. Come on. God. We built splice, got done, sent all my tools out, got out of the manhole, went 1 step, 2 step, 34 kV joint blew.
Dang.
Threw me a good few feet down because the concussion knocked me over. And I was kind of like, that was really stupid.
Yeah.
But hey, guess what I did 2 days later?
Charge of 40 hours.
Same.
That's wild.
Yeah, so the underground, most people could equate it to URD, stuff for residential distribution and stuff like that. If you say heavy underground, the first thing everyone thinks of is manholes. And there are differences in them. There are manholes I have worked in that are probably the size of this table, where I've had to sit down and there's manholes. I know people don't believe me, but they're like you get Chicago, we call them head houses on each side of the river. They're 250 feet deep.
No kidding.
And a cable goes under the river.
Oh,
They're huge.
wow.
They're massive. They take like 2 days to pump out.
What?
Yeah.
And what size wise this way? Like this room?
Bigger than this room, probably 2-3 times the size.
No kidding.
There's a manhole, if I remember right, is outside Ontario Sub in Chicago. It is, I want to say 50 by 110. And you go down, the first platform, as we'll call it, is all secondary cable. And this is another thing that no one was considering safety when they built this one. You go down over here on the ladder, it's all secondary. And then you walk all the way to the other end. And you go down the ladder, another 50, 70 feet, and it's all primary cable. Then you go all the way down to that side, and you go down, and it's all transmission cable.
Wild.
It's crazy. We got a brand new engineer with us, and we're on the second platform, like way over here, looking at some cable fault. And he's kind of nervous, and he's like, hey, what happens if something blows up down here?
Get the whole thing grenades.
I'm like, it's a recovery mission. Why?
Yeah.
He's like, no. He goes, serious. He goes, how are they going to get us out of here? I'm like, they're not. It's a recovery mission. If we're 2 layers deep, you'd have to run all the way there and then run all the way there before this becomes a massive fireball. And he's like, why do you do this every day? I don't know. I get paid well.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
And he's just like, no, he goes, but they're going to come get us, right? After. Way after.
Dude, you're dead.
We're dead.
You're not going to worry about it.
No.
That's wild, though.
Yeah.
You're right, too. Like, when they built this stuff, they were considering safety. Like, you think about the big cities like Chicago. I can't imagine what does the network look like?
Oh, it's massive.
The underground network look like in Chicago, New York? Like, what does this even look like under there?
It's more than anyone would even consider. There are duct packages that are 12 ducts by 42 ducts.
Jeez.
That in itself is
What does troubleshooting this look like? Like, what does...
There's times where they'll just turn on the thumper for the cable, and you will go from this manhole, stuff rags in the duct. Nope, still hear it that way. Go to the next manhole, stuff rags in the duct, try to find it. It's gotten much better with radar technology and some of the other stuff. But for a long time, you were just popping lids, pumping them down, listening for a bang. Hey, the manhole's covers off of that one. That might be it.
When you go down and look at the work that's done, and you look at the work that's done in more recent years compared to work that's done in the past, is it different? Like craftsmanship wise, things like that?
You can't miss it.
Talk about that a little bit.
You can't miss it.
Yeah.
There's cable. The oldest cable I've ever worked on and put back in service was from 1923. And I can say that it was because all paper lead cable has what we call a date strip. It'll give you the footage, the date, the manufacturer, the patent number, everything.
Cool.
So if you pull it out and it says General Electric 1923, it's from 1923. And it was in a room or a manhole probably bigger than this room. The Mercantile Exchange took a bump. So we went down there, cable fault about that size, about a foot outside the splice. So we broke the splice, went over here, cut a hole, and put in a big 8-foot chunk of cable, built 2 splices, put it right back in service. But back then, when men were made of steel and ships were made of wood, It was different. You can see the time and the pride they took in it. A lot of guys would put their name, actually stamp their names in the splices.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Like a little piece of art.
Little pieces of art. In the 40s, we have what they call victory wipes. So it was all lead cable. And normally if a lead cable where the sleeve meets the lead, you'd put a big reinforcing wipe so cables don't move. Back in the 40s, they would just do what we call tin them to seal them shut. And it would keep them in place because they were victory wipes because we were going to win the war.
No
lead
kidding.
was going overseas.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
Never thought about that too. Yeah. It definitely would have affected our industry as well. See, that's what's so cool. Some people don't realize is like one of the major reasons we were able to do so good in the war is because we were industrialized and we had this giant infrastructure.
Yep.
But you didn't realize as well, all the metal, all the lead, all the metal, everything's going to make weapons.
Yep.
And you got to skimp down. That's crazy. I never thought about that.
And you get in those old manholes that are, I'm not sure about everywhere else, but in ComEd where they're brick-laid manholes. They're actually hand-laid brick. And it can be small and they can be massive. These are dug up, hand-laid brick manholes, the teens and the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't out there with major backhoes,
Sure.
But you get to a joint position where the racks are, cable comes in, you're going to build a splice. And at every joint position, there's 2 bricks that stick out this way. And you can still, in the ComEd catalog, get manhole candles.
No kidding.
There are no portable generators, right?
Sure.
So they would literally light candles at the joint position to light up the manhole to go to work.
Wow.
You think about that.
Yeah, that's wild. That's so cool.
And it's the teens, it's the 20s. They're still putting stuff in with horses. And there's candles and there's...
Yeah.
You can look online on some of the old videos of guys doing lead work. They're not even wearing gloves. Their sleeves are rolled up, right?
Just blows your mind
It's
now.
just
Like all the safety provisions now compared to like...
Yeah. Dudes in little pork pie hats.
Oh, God. Just catching the fumes,
Bring it in, yes. Killing it. But that work is still there. It's still there. When you look at it, you can go, that's from the 40s or the 50s. That's just amazing. And it's still there. The cable's still there, still working. Companies long since made their money. I mean, those dudes are all fucking long since dead. So are the horses.
Yeah.
So it's, and it's when you think about the fact that has been there that long, just resting there, delivering power to the masses. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. It's so cool. Couple things. We'll start with this one first. I've been to a couple of the old cities. One of them, Boston. Love the old district with the gas lanterns and the buildings and the I think it's granite or marble sidewalk caps or whatever. Yeah. Like the curbs are all old cut still. Like to walk down those streets and just like think like, I don't know. So that's kind of cool. It's just similar to the thing, like similar to what you're talking about, the candles, and like I just get that nostalgic feel of old school ways they used to do things. That's cool. Do you think that cable now will last as long as it did then? Is it spec to last as long, or is it just like, is it different? Or does that get you in trouble?
That's a touchy subject with a lot of people.
Sure.
There's a couple cable manufacturers who have now said that their cable has a lifetime guarantee.
Okay. So how long are we living?
What's a lifetime?
Right.
When I first came out and there was a lot of concentric type cables going to ground and they were like, this cable's good for 30 years in ideal conditions. What's an ideal condition? Someone's lab?
A little bit of gray area there.
Right. Manhole full of water.
Literally sticking it in the ground where it doesn't want to be.
Right. We're just throwing dirt over it. I mean, what is ideal conditions? I mean, are you good with water? Are you good with the water full of needles and dirt and mud and leaves? There's a big difference there.
Sure.
And they're always like, oh, well, it's guaranteed. For what?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. And I don't know what a lifetime guarantee is. I mean, is it a lifetime?
Is it 30 years or is it 60 years? Is it 100?
Did the guy who invented it die when he was 20? So it was lifetime?
It's kind of a cliche thing. Hey, like, lifetime. Bumper to bumper.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Bumper to bumper lifetime warranty.
What else? Where else have you worked around the country, or you spent time globally doing this sort of thing? Like, where are some scenarios and places it's taken you?
Taking me to a little bitty downtown Des Moines, which you wouldn't think, but they've got a pretty big network there. San Francisco, major underground, little town, Victoria, Texas, Laredo, Dallas, Philadelphia, Madison, Wisconsin.
What's the most interesting place that it's taken you?
The most interesting thing is Madison, Wisconsin is the oldest network system in the U.S.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I would thought it was like East Coast.
You would think,
yeah.
right? But the very first, what we'll call official underground secondary voltage network, where it's a parallel scheme and protectors and transformers, Madison, Wisconsin.
Why was that? You know?
No idea. Someone there was thinking.
Crazy.
But again, Madison, come on.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico was fun. What a disaster of a system. Guys who say, I'm a cowboy, I can do all that cowboy stuff, go to Puerto Rico.
Okay. Yeah.
You've seen some of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Nope. Like manholes, like the size of this table with like 30 elbows, and a guy going, I'm going to go down there and switch.
What?
Yeah. With what? I got gloves on. What?
Are they rubber? Yeah. That's wild.
Craziness. I had a lot of fun everywhere. As far as like most interesting, I think all of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a bit of a, I don't know what the proper word is, kind of a cable junkie, or I love it. I mean, we pulled out we're redoing the network in, it was downtown Victoria. This is your copper network main. You're going to hook up a copper network service. And it's a 2-bolt. This goes over the top, and then there's 2 bolts to tighten down that you would slide the cable in. And it actually has a date stamp on it of 1922. We pulled that out, and I was like, that's cool.
That's so cool.
And the utility inspector was like, oh, that stuff's got to go in the garbage.
No.
Not that one.
Going to my house.
Nope. You ain't throwing that out.
I got a buddy that started in overhead, and he's been working, I think he's working overhead again, but he did a big stint in San Francisco in cable. Saw an opportunity to learn something new, wanted to try out underground, that sort of thing. So spent in the city. And it's kind of neat because he's got like a bit of a social media following. So I was super stoked about it because he was kind of like highlighting it a little bit. And he was kind of like presenting it in. It's not like it was sexy because he's literally showing homeless people like crapping on the sidewalk beside the manhole and like wild things that are happening. But like that was kind of like the mystique around it too. And like, hey, this is what it is. It's different than what we're doing. We're working most of the time. It's through the night. It's not through the day. It's through the night. And you see all kinds of wild and crazy stuff. Oh, yeah. You got security with you all the time too, like in San Fran. And anyway, he documented taking out a piece of old 3-wire, Edison 3-wire. So super cool because he's like, this thing, it had been abandoned and they just happened to be like, I don't know, I think extending the manhole or something, like getting in a little ways. And so he was able to get a chunk of that and recover it. And again, like, hey, all that stuff needs to go in the garbage. He's like, nope, this is going home with me. This is super cool, stuff like that's super cool. When you get to take a piece of overhead, you get to do it all the time, but it's a little harder to recover some of that stuff.
It is. And I think most people don't understand is how, so like a Chicago, a San Francisco, LA, Detroit, these major metropolitan areas that were built between early 1900s till the 60s, that's all underground. Yeah. I mean, I dare you to find a pole. Yeah. And if you did, you know how many wires would have to be on that pole? Yeah. It'd be the old days where you'd just see all those wires that you couldn't even climb. True. That's what it is. I mean, you tell someone you go in a manhole and there's 50 cables. No, there isn't. Yes, there is. Why would I lie about it? Yeah. But you can go in a manhole and there's 2 cables. Depends on where you're at. And that underground infrastructure that people don't even realize exists, no clue it's there, walk over it every day, drive over it, it's incredible. And the age is incredible. The variety is incredible. I always make this joke. We're ComEd. we invent electricity and my engineer's smarter than yours, and that's why our system looks like this, right? And that's their underground system. And then you go to San Francisco, and PG&E's like, no, we invent electricity. And my engineer's smarter than yours, and that's why our system looks like this. Underground systems are extremely varied. I know a lot of the overhead construction is becoming a bit more standardized.
A little bit.
Underground, not even close. The racking systems are different. The ladder used to get in a manhole is different. Cable sizes are different. Cable types are different. I spoke at a conference a while ago, and I'd said, with the workforce becoming so transient, people traveling, wouldn't it be nice if there was one specification for just as number 2 stranded elbow? Pretty sure every engineer in the room wanted to stab me. But really, just make it the same. You can use Cooper or Artini or whoever you want for your product, but just make the specification the same.
Sure.
No, because we're smarter. We invented it. Our engineers are better. So that's one of the things I love about the underground is it's so, the variety. You know, guy I work with, I've known him for a long time. He's like, got to do a reverse cut and kick today. Got to do a reverse cut and kick today. Got to do a reverse cut and kick today. I'm like, setting poles sounds like fun. He's like, what are you doing today? Well, yesterday we pulled out 3 or 4 runs of cable. We're going to pull them back in, build some splices. What? That sounds like variety. It is. And tomorrow I'm going to go set a transformer, some data center or whatever. Is it really like that in the underground? Yep. It's not a reverse cut and kick every day.
Yeah.
But that was his big joke. Get a new guy in a crew. Kid, you ever do a reverse cut and kick? No, I can't wait to learn. He's like, you're an idiot.
Well, excited to show you.
Excited to show you. We're going to do a lot of them.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is cool. When did training come in for you? Like, when did you decide, hey, I want to actually do this whole training side of it versus be out on the job sites?
I guess training started actually probably when I was still in the field. One of our foremen, who at the utility is like a superintendent, he came up to me one day and he was like, I'm going to put this kid with you, brand new kid, whatever. I'm like, I don't want another new kid. Come on, I just got that kid straightened out.
Here comes the sigh.
Yeah.
I gotta do this again.
I got to do this again. And he's like, yeah, he goes, but that kid's good. I'm like, that's why I don't want to lose him. Right. He's like, haven't you figured out that you're doing a good job training these guys? That's why you keep losing them. I'm not teaching this next kid nothing. Right. And that was the first time I thought to myself, I'm actually training people. Thought I was just showing them how to do it. And then at one point in time, another guy's like, you're the training crew. I am? Interesting. But it really became a thing probably after the first neck surgery. And then it just became hard to work. It was just tough. That's when the hands really started getting even worse, and constantly bending over and doing stuff and kneeling down, and the manholes that are this tall.
Right. I never thought of that. I don't have that problem.
Right.
I'm a hobbit.
Yes. I make them this tall or something, but when you're constantly like trying to spread eagle so you can get down, or bending your head over, and we get a lot of crap because you see guys in the underground always wearing like filthy hats or filthy bandanas. Who wants to rub their head on the top of a manhole?
True story.
So once it became hard to splice, I was like, maybe I should look at this training thing a little bit more. So started, doing more classes and teaching and telling them, hey, kid, I'm the old fucked up guy. You're going to come do this for me. I'm going to yell at you the whole time. That's when I was like, all right, it's time to figure out how to move away from making my pain worse every day.
Sure.
Basically. So started training, teaching. First, what we'll call, I guess, training class, I actually did when I was at InfoSource in Chicago. And they were going to do all this network stuff to rebuild all the networks in Corpus Christi and Laredo and everywhere else after the major AEP fire embarrassment. And it was the first time I stood up in front of like 10 guys and taught networks. This is what a network is, and we don't do this, we don't do that. And it was odd because I was talking, looking at everyone, teaching, and realizing these guys are dumb enough to listen to me. Actually, wait, I'm talking and they're actually listening. That's odd. And And they would come up afterwards and be like, hey, I got questions about this and this. And I'm like, wow, these guys are actually listening and learning. And I was like, this is kind of cool. I'm actually getting to pass on what I'm doing. And it was nice because then I followed them out in the field and we did a lot of field training and other stuff. And I was like, it just hit. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be teaching this. I've spent all these years doing all these things, being all these places, learning all this stuff, much like you, all the places you've been. It's a neat to kind of just take that chunk out and go, hey, learn something. This is what I learned.
It's the presentation that I think is difficult. That was one of the things for me that I like showing people things and teaching in a way, in a sense, but it was very difficult for me to do that part.
Yeah.
And that's what I always liked about guys like yourself, or, like one of the most natural people at teaching, like trades and teaching, was Glenn Wright. Like, he was just so good at that delivery.
He was.
And I always used to just like look at that and be like, oh man, like you're so good at this. Yeah. I don't know. I always found that hard. Like, what's some advice for some of those guys that are thinking about switching to instructing? Because I encourage it a ton. I get DMs all the time. Like, I'm kind of interested in moving into this. And I've made a few recommendations of guys that have gone to the Lazy Q and become instructors and things. Like Matt was one of them.
Great dude.
Yeah, great, right? And I don't know, what's some of your advice for those guys that thinking about that switch and how to make that switch? And
so the one thing I've always said is, maybe with the exception of you, none of us were class valedictorians.
Was not that guy. No.
I only know one dude in this business who literally was a class valedictorian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was he doing here? Did he stumble into it one night?
So he was going to college to get his degree in logistics and finance. And in the summer, his uncle made him work as a grommet.
Okay.
He loved it.
Poor bugger.
He loved it.
Yeah.
And so when he got out of college and he told his dad, I'm going to go be a lineman, his dad's like, no, the fuck you're not. I just paid for all this fucking education. And he's like, you told me I graduated college, I could do whatever the fuck I want. He's a lineman.
So cool. That's a good story.
Yeah, he's a good dude. So none of us are valedictorians or anything even similar.
Yeah.
You start talking about the microscopic heating thermal qualities of tape as it becomes, right? Sunglasses, hats.
Yeah.
Right? So we're not. So don't teach anybody like their class valedictorian. Teach them like you want to be taught when people come to see you. Because we've got all these safety stand zones and all these other things where they start talking over you, or we're here to talk about the push for zero. To teach like you're talking to yourself.
Right.
And just do that. But at the same time, this maybe sounds slightly arrogant, but you know what you're doing, right? If you want to get class on line work, do you know what you're doing? So today we're going to talk about some overhead transmission work, and we want to make sure that you guys are following along.
Yeah.
You're instantly discredited.
Sure.
You know the work. Stand up there and talk about it. You know the work. Hey, we're going to talk about some cable splicing. We're going to make sure you guys know how to understand theory, hand tape splices. But if you're looking away, or you're meek, or you're worried, you're instantly discredited. You know the work. Relate it. Talk about it like you want to be talked to. I get in trouble for lots of fucking cursing in classes. Some very politically incorrect things I'm not supposed to say. I've been caught doing that a few times and gotten pulled aside. You can't say that. I already did.
Yeah.
I'll say it in the next class too. But just be yourself too.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to be like a professor, or if you look phony, we've been in this business long enough. We see it, right? You know that guy who's come, then I call them chameleons. I'm going to be this guy on Ryan's crew because Ryan likes this. And over here, I'm going to be this guy on that crew because he likes this. I want to fit in everywhere. No. Just be yourself.
Sure.
And I think that's a huge thing. Just being yourself, not putting on the bullshit. And don't talk over everybody's head.
Yeah.
There are some guys in this business they're more of that professor-ing. They understand it, and that's fine. But if you're also not paying attention to your class and you're just up there talking and you haven't seen that you've lost everyone, that's a problem too. Yeah. Stop and look. Yeah. If everyone looks bored, guess what?
Yeah.
They're bored.
that's part of it too, is like you start to get in your head as when you're up there and you're talking in front of people, you start to get in your own head like,
It's
oh my God,
easy.
everyone's bored. And that's what I've learned the hard way through the experience of it, is like that student that looks like they're the boredest and like they're not paying attention doesn't mean that they aren't. Like, they could look like their hat down and looking away, but maybe he's just got ADD and he just like,
Right.
he's hearing you. He's just also looking at other things and thinking about 10 other things and like fidgeting on the side. Like, doesn't mean he's not hearing you and listening and learning from you. And that was a hard one, being up at the front, seeing that. And you see the 50 of them sitting there in front of you and they don't look too interested most of the time.
No.
And that's, I don't know, it's a hard one to get past. Like, take some public speaking classes or something too, you know?
Yeah. And it is. And for me, we were talking about like the philosophy and stuff earlier. So we're going to talk about confined space training. Super exciting topic, right? OSHA mandated. Let's talk about confined spaces. I don't even want to talk about them sometimes. So at very first line school, we had to do confined space, which at that time was a 6-hour OSHA mandate. 6 hours of talking about confined space. Wow. Take a deep breath.
How do you even...
Right.
How?
Yeah. So I'll always start with, let's watch a funny video, or I'll throw up some philosophical thing. Get their heads moving first.
Sure.
Especially first thing in the morning. So there's a band, Shinedown. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Yep, absolutely.
The singer has a tattoo on his hand that says, "Your pain is a gift." So I put that up on the board. I'm like, hey, before we start the class, let's get everybody's thoughts on this. What does everybody think? Hey, what do you guys think? And they're all just, because they're all like, they're all brand new. And finally I'm like, damn, like, does anybody think? This guy in the back goes, whoa. He goes, I think. I'm like, someone had enough coffee this morning. I'm like, so what do you think about that? He goes, that pain's not a gift. He's like, pain sucks. He's just ranting off the whole thing. I'm like, all right, pain's not a gift. I'm like, everybody think? You get that general yes murmur. All right, all good. And I see the little hand go up in the back. I'm like, hey, kid, you ain't got to raise your hand. Just speak up. Really thin Southern kid. He goes, well, sir, no, pain is gift. And everyone's like, you dumb mother. They're all yelling at him. And I'm like, no, let the kid speak. And I'm like, why is pain a gift? He goes, well, sir, he said, it's quite simply that the toughest things you learn in life are the ones you never forget. It's a gift. I was like, anybody's opinion change? And they're all kind of like, well, I'm like, this is it. Now that we're all thinking, let's talk about confined space.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. So I always try to start with something, especially on those tough subjects. Respiratory protection. Great. Let's talk about that. Lead awareness. Yay. So that's one of the tougher pieces of like that underground training. You've got to go through some of those compliance pieces that are just boring.
Yep.
So try to make the class interesting. If you're going to teach, make it interesting. Yeah. If you don't want someone up there just droning on, then don't go up there and drone on. And I know sometimes we do, because you got on that subject that like, yes, we're talking about
you
this.
Totally nerd out about.
And all of a sudden you turn around and everyone's like,
guess you're not quite there yet. You will be one day.
Well, crap. Let's backpedal. 5 minutes, stick 5, go get a drink. Yeah. So you also got to recognize that if you're losing them, stop, ask questions, bring them back. And they're going to ask you questions that are dumb, but what do you want? They're kids. They're just learning.
Something I like how you bring up that like engagement piece, and it just got me thinking about like podcasting. Even something I had to learn through podcasting is like I got all levels of people sitting across me, like guys that can tell stories like yourself and go on about a topic and actually like describe it and storytell a little bit, and then you get those ones that are just like, where are you from, John? Chicago.
Yes.
Okay, cool. End of the interview. We're done. Like you got to open them up a little bit. So I like to give some questions that are a little more easily answered, and then pull those little threads, but get them comfortable speaking, about things that they can easily answer, and then get to the philosophical question or the big, the bigger stuff that they got to do a little bit of thinking. They're like kind of primed up and prepped up. Yeah. That's good. You can apply that to, like you said, teaching as well, or the classroom.
Yeah, because realistically, first thing in the morning, we're going to talk about something boring, right? Well, first thing in the morning, what does everybody like? I had my coffee. I just woke up. You're sitting in class. We like to be out in the field. We want to do something. I got to sit in this class. Well, get their heads rolling.
Yeah.
Show them something stupid. At the van down by the river, right? They're laughing. Okay, now that we're laughing, we've got you thinking. We've got you awake. Those are the keys. But just walking in and hitting, even if it's a somewhat exciting subject, but just hitting it, get them. Do introductions, talk, have some fun. Warn them if you're coming to my class, you're probably gonna get picked on a little bit. It's got to be fun, because otherwise no one wants to be there. You want to learn, but you still want to have some fun, right?
Yeah.
I don't know too many people in this life who wake up and go, I'm having no fun today.
Yeah, no. There's a few of them though.
Yes,
Stay away from most people.
Yeah.
When you've been in this trade, in cable for a long many years, when you have a conversation with somebody and somebody comes up to you and says, like, what do you like about this trade? What do you like about this job? And you start talking passionately about it. What are you speaking about? What aspect of it do you love?
I love all of it, but one of the things, probably the biggest thing, is the art of it, right? Especially when it comes to lead. And I know this. I've been an art kid forever. I was pottery in high school. All of my tattoos are all my drawings, stuff like that. Cool. So the lead, it's moving that molten lead and making it nice and making that joint sit there and it's pretty. But the same with all cables. If I'm going to train that cable in place and make it look right, it's going to look good. And there's no saying, if it looks like crap on the outside, what does the inside look like? Did they bother to build it right? So I like the art piece of it, the getting it to go where it's supposed to be, the art, making it look right, the thought process that goes into it. Because you can take, and again, not picking on linemen, except those who deserve it. We can look at a lot of wire for a lot of miles. There it is. It's broken there. Take 3 miles of cable. I haven't seen them yet. There's no dirt goggles.
Yeah.
Right?
No kidding.
You've got to be able to look at the maps, make sure the maps are right. Is it correct? Follow the map. There's some thought to it. So the art of it, the thinking piece of it, I know it sounds dumb, but sometimes it's just dirty, brutal days. I like them for some reason. Yeah. Pulling cable in terrible manholes, explaining to guys. I hear this a lot. We're going to talk about underground rigging. It's just rigging. Well, it's not the same. It's not even close to the same. No, rigging's rigging. Nope. No. So when you actually start to explain that pulling cable across poles or towers, that's this type of rigging. Pulling a cable 300 feet through a duct line that intentionally has a peak in it so water runs out, right? Those lines have got to be pretty straight, and for every click you are up rubbing against the duct, you're adding tension, all these different things. So many bends, 90-degree bends equals this much tension. You start talking about it, and guys are like, what?
Yeah.
Told you it's not the same.
Especially like the angles you got on your equipment coming up out of the manhole to your puller or whatever too, right?
There's some thought process that go into setting. The cable comes down, it doesn't hit a block, or it does. Do you have a big enough block? Is it straight pull? Are you just shooting it straight down? There's so many different. The variety is almost endless. I think I like the fact that it's a bit artistic and just the variety is just. There are no two cable pulls that are the same.
Love that.
I mean, you can pull cable in 2 ducts right next to each other. It's not the same.
Yeah.
You still got to move the rigging. You still got to put everything in place. There's a lot. I think there's way more that goes into it than most people understand.
Sure. I definitely believe that. I think that's why a lot of linemen don't touch it, to be honest. Call you guys out right now. It's like, I don't know. I'm good. I don't know if I have the skills upstairs to deal with that problem solving.
And I've had a couple guys show up and be like, never going to touch that. Never want anything to do with it. Scares the hell out of me. There's something wrong with you. There is.
Yep.
Yep, there is.
Hey, the same can be said the other direction too, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm no lineman. I'm
those
never
2 little
to be.
spikes. I'm good.
No, not my
120
thing.
feet in the air. Yeah.
I mean, I can put up a house service if you're good. You know, we did that, you know, at the utility. Hey, underground, go put up house service. It's great. Yeah. Wasn't a fire climb if we ever had to. I did learn from another guy that when we're on a storm and climb up, house services up, but the weatherhead has ripped off the house, and he was a seasoned guy, and crew leader goes, cut that shit in the clear so you guys can get himself fixed. All right. I know.
One at a time.
Not all three. Crew leader's like, it's still hooked up. I know.
Damn. Yeah, you find that out the hard way. Most people do.
You've been doing it forever, right?
Yeah.
It's down. It's got to be out of service, but you're on the pole. Crap.
Yeah.
Those brain farts, they're funny. You know, luckily no one got hurt.
Yeah.
He got a great nickname out of it. So.
What was it?
He was a new gangster in town. Al Capow.
It's a great one for Chicago. Love that.
Perfect fit.
That's good. All right, couple more for you. Had you for almost 2 hours now. Sweet.
Wow.
I know, crazy, right? I'm going back to the values we talked about. And again, love your writing on LinkedIn. I think it's important that a guy like yourself is on a platform like that and takes time to write about experiences and things like that. What does a good leader look like to you?
Probably get a little crap for this for the whole leader thing. Everybody's a leader now. And no, you're not. Just because you're reading the books and I have the title, I'm a leader. Doesn't make you a leader. It's more about what you do, how you interact with your people. There's some hard leadership rules, so to speak, that should be followed. But just because you say you are doesn't mean you are. If you're a leader and you're trying to set an example and no one's following you, either you got the wrong people or you're not setting a good example. I mean, just call it what it is. But leading is also about, you know, Ryan, I trust you to get this done. Go out and write me a manual about rigging a block on a tower. Right? But then, Ryan, did you get that rigging manual done? What? You said I could do it. I led you to it, but trust and verify.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't do it, there's this whole, let the group deal with it. No. If I gave you an assignment and you didn't do it, now we got a problem. That's part of being a leader. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. Mm-hmm. Leading is about also bringing them to their potential. If someone can do that, have them go do it and push them in the direction to help them do it. Don't just give them an assignment and walk away and go, I'm a great leader. I empowered him. No. Does he need help?
Yeah. I'm a manager.
There's times where you're a leader, and there are times where being a leader means you are technically the boss or the manager. You can't micromanage because nobody wants that. But if you're giving them tasks and nothing's getting done, look at me, I'm a great leader. I'm delegating. Nothing's getting done. Rein them back in. Hey, did you get this done? I got a time limit on it. There's so much of that. Like I said, it's all rainbows, and no, it's not. There's hard things to being a leader. One of the hard, fast rules for me, though, is leaders eat last. And I've written about that a lot because if dudes turning tools are hungry and you're not, no one cares. Builds a lot of animosity too. That entitlement piece of being a leader or a boss.
Sure.
Nah, it doesn't help. But you've got to give them the tools they need to make sure they know what they're doing and make sure they know what they're doing. I'll equate it to an accident. New guy, new crew, and gets pulled off his job, and they're going to go do a job, something different. And from what I understand from everybody who was there, it went like this. Hey, we're going to take that transformer out of service. That one? That one. Talking about that one right there? Yeah, that one right there. Okay, we'll take that transformer out of service. Okay. Hey, you, go take that transformer out of service. That one? Yep. There's 4 of them. Guess what happened? It wasn't that one. Because no one went, this transformer right here with this number. And yes, being a leader means telling that guy to go do his job. But if he doesn't have the tools to do that job, whether it's safely in the field or doesn't have the proper knowledge to write a manual or lead a class, you're not helping them.
Sure.
Lead them there, but give them the direction. Yeah. It can't be just about, I empowered all my people.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Right.
Explain what that even means to me.
Yeah.
What is empowering? You know?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Give them a task, let them complete it, but make sure it's completed. Trust and verify. But some of that leadership stuff, like I said, leaders eat last. Leaders have to set the example. So if you're saying everyone here dresses like this, well, if it's not comfortable for you, it's not comfortable for them. But if that's the standard, you better do it every day. If you say that your hair has to be parted on the left, you better make sure everybody's hair is parted on the left. So sometimes being a leader means you're setting an example or doing things that aren't comfortable. But if you're not comfortable with it and you expect it from them, guess what's not going to happen? It's not hard to see when you're not following your own example or following your own standards.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid to change things either. Get you in some trouble sometimes with some certain type of other people, but make the change.
Yeah.
And definitely not afraid to have someone coach up.
Sure.
Hey, Ryan, you know what? This really needs to be changed. I know it was your thing, but this is why. Because there's a lot of that, I created it.
Yeah.
Swallow the ego. Yep. Know when you've made a mistake and learn from it.
Humility is huge.
Life is a learning lesson everywhere you go. Everything that happens is learning.
Yeah.
So.
Big fan of being a student of leadership. Who do you draw inspiration from, knowledge from, learning from, as far as like books, the people out in the world? You got recommendations? Good books, good podcasts, something?
Probably my favorite book series is from Steve Farber.
Okay.
The Radical Leap. Those are great. Now that I just put myself on a spot, I can't remember what the LEAP stands for. Love, energy, audacity, and proof. Love what you do. Do it with energy and have the energy to do it. Have the audacity to do it and make changes, and then have the proof that you've done it. It's great, simple stuff.
Yeah.
He had another one, Love is Damn Good Business by him, which I know isn't a popular concept, but I mean, you've been around the guys I work with. I tell them they're my brothers. I love them. I love them like brothers. I hate them like brothers sometimes, you know. I tell you, I love you like the brother I never wanted. Get out. But let's sit down later and have a cigar and talk about it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into that. And again, the old philosophers, the Stoics, there's a lot of leadership there.
Yeah.
It really is.
Which ones are your favorites?
Oh, Jesus.
Solve.
I mean, Aurelius obviously is amazing. Epictetus, Socrates. There's so many of those variations of the same philosophy. Epicurus, which everyone thinks is food, but he was known for his wonderful food that he would serve to everybody. And the Stoics got a bad rap for not being fun. They were fun. They just had a philosophy that, you know, just because you're mad about something doesn't mean you got to be mad about it. Someone tells you, Ryan, you low, rah, 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 rah. If the words have no power over you, well, then they have no power over you, right?
Along that line, do you have a favorite quote?
Ooh.
You share a lot of them. I know they're hard to like remember on the spot.
Probably my favorite quote, and my kids get tired of hearing me say it, is change is the only constant, right? Things change. If you can't go with that, go with the change.
Yeah.
Make the change. You're not maybe have to agree with it. Things change. If nothing ever changed in this life, guess what we would be doing right now?
Oh, be bored.
Yeah. We'd still be sitting here with the tablet.
100%.
All right. I talked to Ryan 2 months ago, and here's the carving of it. Yeah. Things change. They change every day. They change every second, every minute. So adapt to change or fight it. But those who fight it usually...
I love things that are broken down into its simplest form, but still impactful.
Yes.
There's way too much, especially in the writing world. Like, you can see people just drone on forever and ever about a topic, but when you can just take that and break it down into something like change is the only constant, you're like, huh, wow.
It's like the old Einstein thing. You're not an expert at it if you can't speak to it.
Love it. On that note, like we're done speaking. Appreciate your time. Thanks for doing
brother.
this. Love to do it again, but thanks for being here.
A lot of fun. Sorry someone's finger is wore out.
Yeah, it's all right. That's Dex. He'll take care of it.
I like him anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. It was great.
Yeah. I hope you guys got some value out of that episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I just want to draw your awareness to a couple of other things. So we make these podcasts, yes, but it's not the only thing that we put out as far as content. Our social medias are full of valuable cuts from the podcast itself, as well as just a bunch of other educational stuff and entertainment. So go follow us at Powerline Podcast on all social media platforms. And then also YouTube. I don't think that a lot of you are aware of this, but we don't just load these podcasts onto YouTube. We also make vlogs, which are super educational, entertaining, great place to direct people to learn about the industry, learn about the trade, or just learn about what's going on within either Quanta or the Powerline industry in general. So hit up our YouTube channel. Again, it's at Powerline Podcast. You can catch those vlogs on there. We also load a bunch of other extra content in video form. We try to up the quality every time we do this. We try to up that quality. So hit up the YouTube channel and make sure you're subbed to all those platforms. Appreciate you guys. Hope to see you again soon. We'll see you again soon. Peace.